Hello and welcome into the Founders Club. I am your club president, Jeff Jarrett. If you are new around here, we go live right here on YouTube and we are simulcasting on Facebook as well. Every Tuesday at noon, we are live, so jump in the chat. Let us hear from you. What we do here on the Founders Club, if you're new here, you're like, what is the Founders Club? What is this live broadcast that I just tripped across? The algorithm has brought me to you. Now, what am I watching? What you are watching is a show with your host, Jeff Jarrett. I have a marketing agency and I've been in the marketing world forever. I've got to meet a lot of great founders of companies. And so this show is talking to some of those folks and just picking their brain. If you were out there and you're thinking about starting a side hustle or you're running a brand now and you would like to learn from those who have had some success, we talk to folks on this show at every stage of the journey. So we've talked to people who are very experienced and built and manage large teams, all the way to those just at the beginning of their journey. So I find that very interesting too, to find out like what their steps are, what their processes are, what they're planning to do, what they've learned from others that have gone before them. And our guest today is just that kind of fella. So let's get the show started. Welcome to the Founders Club. All right, welcome into show, I believe it is show 15, if I'm not mistaken. So we're so excited. You know, you start these podcast things and it's a whole big thing about, you know, people starting one episode. Do they actually publish 2? Do they make it to 10? So we've committed to do this for this entire year, try to get 50 episodes in front of you guys and talk to 50 fun and interesting people throughout this journey. And my guest today is a guy here that honestly, if I'm just pride aside, he's just a guy that makes me look silly and slow and old, like, you know, every day. Okay, every day I run into this dude and I just, you know, he just embarrasses me on the basketball court at the local gym. So he's the guy, he always wins all the games, and, you know, I'm always trying to sneak one in, but never really works out. So his name is David Gomez, and he is on the beginning part of his journey with building a brand. And so let's get to David here. Let's bring him on the show here. And there he is. The crowd loves you. The crowd's excited, bro. They're hyped up.
And very, very humble, because you also got some skill on the basketball court.
No.
You win from time to time, and kudos to you, sir.
No.
Because I think it's me and you that really go back and forth.
No, well, there's not that much back and forth necessarily, but okay, if you're not there, then, you know, I seem to do okay. I seem to be doing all right. Like, I feel like, oh yeah, I'm like, you know, rec league good, you know. Now there's levels to these things, you know. There's like people that are actually good, and then there's like, you know, there's rec league decent, you know. But if David's there, I'm like, oh, I see David in there, I'm like, oh, well, who's, you know, it's like when Larry Bird came and said, who's playing for second, fellas, you know.
Got it.
Nah, but it's a good group of guys, and I like it because everybody's just having fun, goofing off. Nobody's taking it too serious. I felt like when I was younger, you know, when I was like in my 20s, maybe in, maybe in the early 30s, you know, you used to take it like real serious. You had all this testosterone, and you would get, you know, all upset about stuff or whatever. But then you get older, you just chill, and it's like you realize it doesn't matter. I'm not going to the association. Okay, it's not. So it's just like we're out there having fun.
Yeah, there are no scouts coming to check us out anytime soon.
Yeah.
Out there
yeah, exactly. So, but it is fun. Sometimes you play with the younger guys, and they're still in that mode, you know, where they're kind of just it's just a part of their life, you know. I think it's just a what is it, like a passage, you know, kind of rite of passage to grow up and be like, okay, we're just out here having a fun time. So, no, but it's good. And I like the exercise because I hate the treadmill, the stair, you know, basically all the cardio stuff. Anything that's cardio, I just really despise it. But I like going and playing basketball because it's fun. You can run around, burn some calories, and just enjoy yourself.
Man, that's the same with me. Like, I don't have any time for treadmill. I can't do that. I can chase the ball. I can grab some rebounds, play defense. That's good cardio for me. Keep it in mind active. Yeah.
Yeah, it's also been kind of interesting too. So at our local court where we play, we used to have two full courts, but now pickleball is like taking over the world, and they took away one of our courts. They converted it into like three pickleball courts. So now we're right next door. There's like this kind of curtain between us. This kind of nylon or vinyl rather, a curtain between us. And so it's kind of funny too to see like some of the guys who were playing basketball going, that pickleball is kind of more chill. I'm going to go on the other side of the curtain. We're kind of losing guys over to the pickleball world. So it's kind of sad when another brother falls to the pickleball.
It's the new golf. It's the trend. It's when you want to retire, and you just go play pickleball or golf, whatever.
Exactly. I come from a golf family. So there's four brothers in my family, and my dad, everybody golfs. And I'm the oldest of the group. I'm my oldest brother. And so growing up, like playing sports, playing basketball or football or baseball or whatever, being the older brother, you can bully your way around to win, the games, except when you're playing golf. The more you try to like muscle your way to so I say that to say I'm by far the worst player in my family. Like all my brothers are actually like pretty good and I'm terrible. So I'm the only non-good golfer in the group. But I like still going from time to time. They'll invite me, just to have a good laugh. But I like participation, but it's not pretty.
It's all good.
Yeah. Do you golf or what do you do besides that?
I don't. I think if I pick up anything other than basketball, it'll probably be pickleball. It's right
Yeah.
next door, so
I know it's the next thing. Well, it was actually I played it a few times because my wife, who's not really that, she's a workout person, but she doesn't do any kind of sports. Like she's never played like a team sport or even individual sports or anything. But some friends of ours invited us, and she actually had a good time with it. She was like, "Oh, this is actually really fun. I like this. I can do it." And so it's kind of like fun for all ages, all skills types, and I think that's why it's so popular because everybody can do it.
yeah.
I've told people that haven't played before. They're like, "Oh, what's it like?" Because you think it's like tiny tennis, but it's actually I feel like it's much more like giant ping pong.
There you go.
Because of the racket and the kind of like the wrist motion. It's much more like a big ping pong than running around hitting a tennis ball.
Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah. So tell the folks just a little bit about your brand and kind of where you are on that. We're gonna get at the end of this show. Okay, this is your first time on the Founders Club. So first of all, welcome to the club. Real quick setup. We're gonna goof off here in a little bit. I've actually got a basketball related challenge for you. Okay, and then we'll get into some serious business. But just so the folks know about David and what he's up to, tell us your story just a bit.
Absolutely, man. I am in the beginning stages of my company. It's called Day Design Studio, and Day is just an acronym for the members of my family,
Oh,
David,
I love
Ashley,
that.
and so not that I'm looking to hand it off to them anytime soon, but if they want to, they can jump in as well. But I just thought, it's for the family. I want to be a family oriented, and so I started it about a year ago. It's going great. I got my first contract in November, which is a huge contract for me. No,
I know how big a deal that is.
no, it's a big deal. It's a big deal. So thank you for that. And no marketing, no promotion, just word of mouth and knowing different people. But I have a history in architecture, and so I went to school in 2001, and right out of college, I got I had the most boring job that you could ever have. And forgive me if you have this role right now, if you're listening in the future and you have this particular job right now. But I was a medical equipment draftsman, and so basically what I did is I took the floor plans from architects, and there were hospital floor plans, and we would place in each room medical equipment. So for instance, when you walk into a medical room, the first thing you see on the wall is a container. It contains trash and gloves, contaminants, things like that. Your bed has to go at a certain at a certain position and location of the room, along with all the other things. So anyway, we had 1,000 CAD blocks, is what we call them, and I would go to each room and plot these things over and over and over and over and over again. And it drove me insane. But I did it. I did it because I knew that was the first step to do what I really wanted to do. And so after doing that for about 4 years, man, I just honestly, I emailed this company that I was looking at. It had nothing to do with architecture or residential or commercial building or designing at all. It was a kiosk company. You know, like when you go to Vegas and they have exhibits,
Yeah.
right? Yeah. So in these exhibits, they have like these little stations and they're kiosks. If you go to the mall, you can
Yeah.
see them in the yeah. So those can be as simple as want it to be, or they can be complex. And so I emailed the guy, and he was like, "I'm not hiring right now, but I know a company who is," and he referred me to this architecture firm. And so right then and there, I emailed the architecture firm, got an interview on that next Monday, got hired on the spot, and there you go. And so I started my journey in the residential architecture field. And so I was with this company for about 10 years, man. 10 years just learning. And what was beneficial about this company was the owner did not want it to grow larger than 10 people. He wanted it to keep it kind of small. But he was bringing a lot of revenue in and a lot of work in. And so basically, he would treat us like the lead architect and project manager. So we would be in charge of every city council meeting, every client meeting. From we would run the thing from the ground up, you name it. And so I received a lot of experience in that company, and so my life took like a quick, like a little turn. 2013, I got into ministry, and so, man, I started on the path to becoming a pastor. And along that journey, I was a pastor. I was a young adult pastor for about 7 years. And then for the next 6 years, I was a campus pastor. And so, campus pastor meaning I had my own church and had my own congregation, own building, and all that stuff. And so, really loved it, really liked it, benefited from it. And man,
Yeah.
I gave it, learned a lot.
That's
I
that's
think,
what that's when I met you. You were
yeah,
you were doing the pastor thing, and
that's right.
yeah. I would always joke that because all your shots would go in because you were prayed up. The Lord was on your side. It's like, if yeah, if God is for you, who could be against you?
That's right. What's crazy about ministry though is that it taught me a lot about entrepreneurship. Like especially having my own building and just you have to do your own marketing. You got to be able to learn to talk to people. There's an aspect of that in business.
Yeah.
There's a lot of crossover when having your own church and also building a brand or owning your own business. And so I did that for many years. But in 2018, my wife started just asking me, "Hey, you got this skill that you haven't used in a very, very long time. Why don't you just pick it up?" And so I fought with it for a long time, man. I did. I fought about going back to architecture, and so what I did is I went back to it on a contract basis, and so from 2018 to 2022, 2023, I was basically contract based. I would work from the church and do my ministry duties there. But then also, when I had time, I would pick up a contract, pick up a house, and design a house, finish out a house, whatever it may be, whatever it entailed. And so I kept that going, and I loved it because it was very beneficial, especially during COVID when everybody's at home, no one's really doing much, but we were still going. The architecture business was still going. And so that kept me busy and kept me going. And so I've always had this kind of like this feeling that I would like to own my own company one day. But I never saw that it was possible. Never did. And this is one thing that I have to say is timing is everything. And because
Yes.
you gain knowledge over a a large number of years. And if you stay patient and if you allow yourself to just be aware of everything that's going on, you can see the connections in your life. Like even from the past when you first started to where you're at now, you can see kind of like it bleeding over the connections that it has. And you may not be doing the same thing as you were 10 years ago, but there is some connections and there's some overlap there. You know what I mean?
Yeah, for
And
sure.
begin to see that, and I begin to ask myself, why don't I? My wife and my wife really is the one that kind of put me on this question, but she loves to live with curiosity. And so instead of saying, I can't do that, or, what if this could happen, her, her question is, you know, um, why not? Why not?
Right. I like that.
I own my own business, right? Why can't I move into these higher, realms of business and income and entrepreneurship? Why not? Why not? And so that's really stuck with me because I've seen her live it out many, many times. And so I got a backstory on that from her. But man, I started asking, why not? Why not me? And many times we don't do a lot of things because number one, we're scared to do it. But number two, we don't trust ourselves. And
Mm.
what about that is like there's little steps that I have taken, and I feel like I'm still at the beginning, but I've left from where I'm at, which is so cool. But there's these little steps that each of us take, right? And each step you get to learn to trust yourself. And I think that's the biggest problem with not starting something or not following through on something is we don't we don't do the work to trust ourselves because
Yeah.
all of us can have a big dream. We used to say in ministry is like, man, we can dream all day. Dreaming is fun. Dreaming doesn't cost a thing except Coke and pizza, right?
Yeah, yeah.
That's
That's
it. You grab pizza and let's dream all day. Round table it.
Yeah, I said, and I don't know if someone said this before me. I didn't hear anybody say this, so I'm gonna take credit for it. But it's dreams are free, goals cost.
Yeah,
If you're a grown up, like dreams are for kids and goals are for grown ups. Is another way of saying it. Like like oh, I have these dreams. Like don't have dreams. Dreams
yeah,
make it seem like oh, that's something that the dream is something that just happens when you're asleep. Like that's oh, I'd love to do that one day. But without a goal, that's all it is. It's just something that's just like a fun idea. But
yeah,
turn those into goals, and then now it's like oh, now a goal is something you're supposed to accomplish. And I think I listened to you were talking about like trusting yourself. And so I was listening to Gary Vee, who's big in this space, encouraging people to do stuff and kind of being encouragement that way. But he talks a lot about being embarrassed. People are too proud to fail publicly. So like that's the trusting yourself thing. It's like, hey, if I take this step and it doesn't work out, then I'm gonna look like an idiot just caring what other people think. When really people aren't even judging you like that. They're at least the people you care about are very supportive. They just want you to succeed. And if it doesn't work out, no one's going to rub your face in it. And if anyone that would do that, those aren't even your people. Like who shouldn't care about what they think anyways, but really no one's doing that. So that's the part of trusting yourself is like, just go for it. Even if you don't succeed, you gave it a shot and at least versus not going for it and then always having regret.
yeah. Absolutely. That was the main thing for me, man, because I've always had these grandiose dreams, these big dreams, and I felt like I've been kind of called to do certain things in my life. Ministry was one of those things. It was like this dream that became real to me. And so now I'm applying that on the business side and learning to trust myself was a big thing. And once you can start trusting yourself, once you get that ball rolling, you start to now ask yourself, like what's possible now? What what was what was impossible now with me trusting myself, what can be possible now? And
Yeah.
learning how to view things like you just said, the failure thing is a major a thing that people like they shy away from. They do not want to fail. And believe me, none of us on here want to fail either. We
Yeah.
just we're learning that to go through some things, to grow, to learn more, is sometimes you're going to have to go for it, and sometimes you're going to have to go for it without all the information, without all the capital. You're going to have to go forward without all these things that you thought that you needed to get started. And so trusting yourself is probably the biggest thing for me that I've learned on this, just the beginning stages of entrepreneurship.
Yeah, I when I first got out of working from home and I got a little office space, it was this place called CoLab over in Fort Worth, down by Montgomery Plaza. And the guy had just opened this thing, and it was all exciting, and everyone was coming in, getting their little office spaces and meeting. And the idea of starting a business, becoming an entrepreneur, he wanted to have this art on the wall. And he's like, okay, you're a designer. I'm going to hire you. I want to have this kind of look like tattoo art, with different fonts and kind of a little saying. And basically, I remember the expression was, if you want to be successful, get comfortable being uncomfortable.
Mm.
Because when you're starting your own business, there's a lot of things that, maybe you don't want to do, and contacting people, like all the stuff you got to do to be successful. It's like a little uncomfortable, to do some of those things, but you just have to be comfortable with the idea that you're not always going to be like in your, comfort zone. You got to push outside of that to succeed.
Absolutely, man. I've been, with this journey, like you learn a lot about yourself, right? And so I've been learning a lot about myself, and I hate that I had to wait like 40 plus years to actually learn about who I really was right at the core. But what's so cool about that is now I know what are some trigger points, right? What are some stress points? What are some worry points? And all in all, like I understand how I function in stress, when I'm in worry. And now when I feel those things, right, worry about the future, stressed out about, whatever it is, current moment. But now I can take a back seat and really like, okay, is this feeling real? Am I just feeling something that's applying pressure right now? That's the same thing with failure. This failure, is it real or is it a lesson? Right? Is it
Okay.
real or is it just something that I'm feeling? Because now this is my experience. Most of the time, whenever we're worrying about things, right, about our business, about what's going to happen, somehow, some way, it works out. Even if it doesn't look right like the way we wanted it to, give it 2 days, 2 weeks, 2 months, everything plays out, levels out, and you're like, wait a minute, this is actually something good that can happen out of this, right? That's been my experience, with everything that I've done. And so we can save ourselves a lot of heartache, you know, just by understanding, like, okay, this is the time to play the slow game. This is the time to detach myself from that worry, that fear from the future, that fear of failure. This is my time to detach myself from it because I'm not fear. I'm not a failure. I'm not worry. Like, I know what I am. And so it's that time to detach myself and play the slow game. And most of the time, man, when you play the slow game, like clarity comes. It's like something clicks, clarity comes, fog lifts. You can think straight, you can see straight, you're listening a little better, you're in tune with what's going on around you, and you can make the right decisions.
Yeah. Well, you talked about like a timing situation. And it's like for you going into this phase of your life, it's like kind of God's timing bringing you through these things. Like we were saying, you're at that age now where you don't get upset if the basketball game doesn't go your way. You're mature, you've learned a lot, and that, and so you're in that phase of your life where timing wise, this is the right time for you to be doing this because everything you just described is something that a young man like young David, he wouldn't have probably got that. You know what I'm saying? But now, not that you're old, but you're just, if you're in the 40s, okay, you've got 20-year-old David and 30-year-old David. They may have been doing other, may have been having different thought processes, but now you've got a little more experience. You talked about learning from mistakes and stuff. My first ever guest on here, his name's Trey, and he says, we don't lose, we learn. So it's kind of a mentality of taking those little L's and turning them into those, turning them into building blocks.
Absolutely. So yeah, man. So ever since 2018, contract based, and 22 decided, you know what, I'm going to do it. And 23, I launched. And man, I tell you this, man, I was sitting on my porch one day and just outside. I think it was like a fall day, and I was just like, I wonder when I'm going to get my first contract. And there it goes, that question again: why not? Right?
Yeah.
Why not? And so again, no marketing, no promotion. I'm just barely getting my brand together, my colors. Like I'm working on my branding book, stuff like that. Just very ground level, like just. But I'm like, anything can happen at any moment. Why not?
Yeah.
And I just felt like, I felt as I was sitting on my porch, I felt like this overwhelming sense of joy. And immediately, like a picture of a contract and signing a contract just came into my mind. And I was just like, all right, I'm thankful. I'm thankful. And then I walked away. And that was probably in September. I didn't get it till November. But here's the key: a lot of us get excited on an idea, a lot of us get excited on a dream.
That's easy.
Like, that's easy, man. But it's the waiting process, right? The from here to there kind of deal that's grueling. And believe me, I had bad days where I was like, how's this gonna happen? Like I don't know how it's going to play out. I don't know how it's gonna come together. I saw it, but I don't know who. I don't know when. Like, what is this? And it's it's sometimes it's the slow game. Tying into learning something about yourself, I think there's two different types of business people. Number one, I think we can all kind of like relate to like the hustler, the grinder. I'm gonna knock down doors, I'm gonna knock down walls to get this thing done. But then there's a second type of businessman that kind of flows with what's around him or her, right? It kind of just like receives it as it comes. Not saying that they don't work hard, not saying that that person doesn't put in work behind the scenes. There's just a different posture. And I've tried to do the business one, right? Businessman number one. I've tried to do it that way. Hustle hard. Like, and believe me, there are times where I get into that mode and I recognize and I realize, wait a minute, that's not me as a business person. Me as a business person and a business owner is more of a slow, steady, let it come. I'm going to believe, I'm going to work hard, but I'm going to believe. I'm not going to knock down doors, because if I force things, that's when I know me personally, when I force things, that's when things mess up for me. So
Right.
in learning who I am, I learned who I am as a business owner as well. And so during that time from September to November, when I received the contract, it was simply, man, a waiting game and going back to that idea of, okay, who am I as a business person? Who am I? And all of us could relate to that because you know your flow. If you're one of those that can hustle and go at it, you know your flow. Like you're right in there and it's effortless to you and you can just do it. For those of you that struggle with doing that a little more than others, then maybe you're the second and you flow into things and you ask questions and you analyze and you contemplate and you just dreaming's free.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
but you work behind the scenes. And in my life, man, I've been the tortoise all my life. I will win the race, but I'm not going to be flashy when we first get out the gate.
Yeah, slow and steady. No, see, I'm glad you're bringing this up because I feel like when you look at hustle culture and
Yeah.
all the people on social media, like, hey, here's how you become a quadrillionaire. You just gotta, and it's all that first thing you've been described. That's what people think in their mind. Oh, I'll never be successful starting my own brand because I'm not one of those super extroverted people that are gonna go out there and do all that kind of stuff that I feel like I see everybody doing. But I really appreciate you mentioning, that that's not the only kind of person that succeeds. There's different kinds of, personalities, and there's different kinds of ways to get, the tortoise and the hare is a perfect example. The one's fast out the gate, and then the other one's just like, hey, slow and steady wins the race, and different personality types and different people can accomplish great things just in different modes. It's not one size fits all for success. It's not like you have to be this real charismatic personality to be successful. There's lots and lots, probably as much or more, that are people that are like the other way, like more chill. It's the reason you know about the people who are real rah-rah is because those are the people more likely to put a camera in front of their face and go, hey, check me out. This is what I'm up to. So that's the kind of person who is on the internet. So that's why you see, oh, everyone on the internet is these kinds of people. Well, that's just because they're comfortable doing that. The other kinds of people aren't, walking around all the time, with the camera in their face. So that's why you don't hear about them. And so, giving a voice to that personality. So I think a lot of people out there watching this, maybe like, hey, thinking, oh, I'd like to start something, but I could never,
Yeah.
and so that's good. It's good to hear that, it's not one kind of person does it.
And that's the beautiful thing about this is like those, those guys that are and women that are, all about it and hustle and keep, they go. You don't even have to try to motivate. They just go, they do it, and they're doing it, and you have to honor that, and you got to be like, wow, man, you're like couldn't do it your way, but you're doing it, and it's working for you, and it's a beautiful thing, and it keep going. And so, but there's also this other side, and that's what I learned as I grew into, just understanding who I was as a person. Man, it encouraged me on the business side just to have confidence in who I am, and knowing that. And there'll be a time where you do have to hustle, and because deadlines and all that stuff. But for the theme of your business, I would like to say, at least mine, I want to stay grounded, level headed. I want to have clarity. I don't want to say yes to everything. I want to
Yes.
be bring quality, or give quality, and I want to be able to bring that to the table. So that's what means more to me. Quality over quantity.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I like that. I like that. All right. Well, okay. Well, thanks so much for, just kind of filling us in and kind of telling us a little about your journey. We'll touch a little, I got a couple follow-up questions on this but let's take a break from the business. Okay. Let's get into some nonsense here. Okay. If you're just joining us, we're on the Founders Club Live. I'm your host, Jeff Jared. We've got David Gomez on the show today, and he's in the architect biz, and he's just beginning his branding journey as he starts now. We're hearing a little bit about his story, but we know each other from the basketball court at the local gym, and we're out there every morning just trying to burn a few calories and just have a little fun with some nonsense. So I was thinking, let's put together something for David. I was thinking something in the architect world, but what's more fun is basketball. So now we're going to the Founders Club Top 10. Top 10 Founders Club. Okay, here it is. Now, today's top 10. Oh, hold on. Man, see, I got your name. I thought I updated your name. Let me get this in here. Boop. What we've got here is a keep 5, cut 5. Okay. So what you have to do is you got to tell us who's going to make the list and who is not going to make the list. And this is all NBA legends. Okay. And I also went no current players. Okay. So you got to say who stays and who goes. And this is your list.
So keep 5, cut 5, right?
Keep
So
5, cut 5.
Wow.
Yeah.
This is well. First off, I mean, starting at, he can play point guard. He can play small forward. Maybe even shooting guard. Well, he's shooting guard, yes, but he could also play small forward. I'm gonna have to, for number one, I'm gonna have to go with, MJ, Michael Jordan,
Yeah, obviously.
for sure.
Yeah, that's just automatic.
Yeah, absolutely.
I even put him at the top just because I mean, you knew.
Yeah, for real. Okay, let's keep going with this. Who is like, who now gets appreciated, these days more than ever, especially in Dallas. Man, but I remember when this guy came in, I mean, he got disrespected so much, so much.
Who is
But
it?
because I'm from Dallas, and because I witnessed this
Oh, I
Uh,
know. I already know.
Asian.
I already know who you're about to say.
We're starting Dirk Nowitzki.
Oh, you're going Dirk?
Dirk, Dirty Dirk.
Yes, dude. Yes. Okay. Actually, I thought you were going to say something else, but no. Yeah. He
You
is.
know,
Yeah.
is it, so it just go back and like watch some of that year of when he was playing basketball. I do that from time to time just to relive it. Beautiful. I
Yeah.
mean, beautiful.
No.
I mean, you shot it, it was going in.
Nah, he was a great superstar. If you guys don't know the Founders Club, we're here in Fort Worth, Texas, Fort Worth, Dallas area. And so the Mavericks are, kind of our team. And Dirk is one of these superstars. We've got the Dallas Cowboys here and we've got the Rangers and everybody, the stars in hockey. But he has just been one of the most normal, like unassuming, superstars you'll ever meet. He's just very accessible, very chill guy. And, this town loves Dirk. He's really in a town where the Cowboys are king, like the Cowboys are just everything. He really is one of the, if not arguably the favorite local athlete from one of our local teams. Just the fans love Dirk.
Dude. Yeah, absolutely. He's got his own street. They named a street after him.
That's right, Nowitzki Way.
That's respect.
Yeah, 100%. You gotta have respect for the one leg fadeaway, knee up. I mean, come on, Dirty Dirk. That's our guy. All right, I like to see that. I like to see that local representation.
Yep. Okay, point guard, starting point guard. I'm gonna have to go with it. Allen Iverson.
Oh, that's a great choice. I saw a clip the other day. And they were talking about like best handles ever because AI was on. He was on what show was it? Was Shaq? I think Shaq's show, and they were asking if Kyrie has better. He says Kyrie has the best handles ever. But as soon as they asked who has the best handles ever, I said Allen Iverson from the past and Kyrie from the present. Those are the two that I just immediately thought of. But now Kyrie's with Dallas, and so I get to see him play a lot more. And that guy is just ridiculous because he's doing this stuff against the best athletes in the world. And he just runs around and just makes them look silly. And you see something every game. You probably see like 3 or 4 plays every game where you got a double take at just some crazy little thing he does. It looks like something from a And One mixtape that he just does in a real NBA game. It's just wild. But Allen Iverson was like that. He would just break the ankles, and then you wouldn't even be in the shot anymore. You'd be over here, and he'd be moving past you right to the bucket.
Hey, there's that highlight where he crossed Jordan. And Jordan couldn't even keep up with him on that play.
Yeah, one of the best defenders of his time, of all time, really. But yeah, no, he definitely had the crossover. He had the killer crossover that just but you had to respect. That's the thing, though. You got to have a decent jumper, otherwise you don't have to respect that. So he had, you had to respect the shot, and then as soon as he just lull you to sleep, and then next thing you know, he's past you. So that's a good pick. I got nothing but respect for Allen Iverson for sure.
Okay, first cut. Are you ready?
Okay. Ooh, this is tough.
All right. A couple of reasons. Okay, this was a rival. Not so much of a rival anymore. Maybe in the future it'll be a rival again. But straight up rival. Okay, to the Dallas Mavs. This guy was so good, and he's got too many to hold. But I'm gonna have to cut because he's, I like a little, I like a little, I like to, have a little flash with my basketball. This guy is not flashy. He's straight fundamental.
He's all fundamentals. Now, see, I love Tim Duncan because you have to respect him. Being from Dallas, he just whipped the Mavericks' butts like every year. The Spurs would come into town, and he was just so businesslike. I kind of like that part of him for sure. But but my game, he used the glass. He had that bank shot, and he could hit that bank shot from all over the court. He'd be in some place where you wouldn't expect for the bank to be open, but it was always open for Timmy. And so I try to emulate that a little bit because I'm not tall. Okay, I'm not gonna say short. Okay, other people would call me short. I won't call myself that, but I'm like usually the shortest guy out there. But I got to get creative, to get that shot up there. And I find the Timmy Duncan, go up off the glass gives you. For me, it gives me more options. So I got all respect for that off the glass game, but I could see he was a Maverick killer. So cutting him out, that's just a little revenge.
Yeah, only because he got the best of the Mavs. So you don't make my list, Duncan. About that.
This is my list, and you ain't on it, brother. I mean, somebody's got to get cut. This has got some good ball players on here. All right. Okay. So we got 3 in, we got 1 out. All right. Who's next? Because this is getting really tough.
I think I got my second cut.
Okay.
But because my 5 depends on it, because I have an idea of what my 5 to be, I'm going to have to cut Olajuwon.
Oh, wow. This is the guy who took full advantage of the Michael Jordan baseball years. Okay, whenever Michael Jordan went to play baseball, Houston was loving it, boy. There was Hakeem with the dream shake.
Yep.
Man, I wish I had that move because I do have I do try to do a little hook shot down low because, again, that just helps the shorter player get a shot off. But, boy, he had that little shimmy. Talk about AI. You got it going this way, but then he'd be back that way. Oh, man. Hakeem the Dream, Olajuwon.
I don't see how defenders couldn't stop it, even though they knew what he was about to do. They just couldn't stop it.
Yeah.
But he honestly, he was really good. But because for the sake of my 5, you got to go Olajuwon. You got to go.
Okay. Well, who? Okay, then that begs the question: who's in?
So I'm at starting center. I mean, there's no question. This guy, honestly, I know there's debate for GOAT and all that stuff, but this guy's probably one of the all-time best NBA players, and that is Kareem.
Yeah, I knew you were going Kareem with that one.
Kareem's got him.
Yeah, let's give him. He's on the team. No, there's no arguing with those numbers, with the championships, with the scoring, with the dominance. I mean, he was that guy. Yeah, he does. He does get overlooked quite a bit in the GOAT discussion. But, I think it's because he wasn't ball dominant. He needed someone to give him the ball. Where MJ, the ball's in his hand. Kobe, the ball's in his hand. LeBron, the ball's in, he's coast to coast. The offense goes through him. And Kareem and Shaq and those guys, they're down low and they're waiting to get fed the rock. And so I feel like maybe that's why people don't think of them. I don't know if that's why. I just, maybe.
Yeah. All right. People are not going to like me for this one, but I got to do it. Only because...
Is this a cut?
This is a cut. Okay?
Okay.
Though, a disclaimer.
Okay.
I saw the first version of this. So the second version was kind of like a copycat. Okay? I saw the first version of this player, and it was like, wow, this is amazing. So... what do they say? The best compliment that you can give somebody is, right?
Yeah. Flatter. Yeah. What is it? This is
that cool, but be that is the best. The best compliment is copying them
or
emulating.
Yeah.
Right? And so, because of that, man, I know we just celebrated his day too, but because of that, I have to, for the sake of my 5, I'm gonna have to cut Kobe. R.I.P. Love you.
Oh,
but you gotta go.
Yeah. As soon as you said you'd seen the first, and then this guy was the second coming kind of vibe. I knew you were going to Kobe. I will say this: when Kobe passed, it still bothers me, honestly. And I was always like when a celebrity would die and fans of the celebrity would be crying and out, putting flowers out at the site or whatever. I always kind of thought that was not. I mean, hey, feel your feelings, whatever. But I didn't get it, right? Like, it's a little silly. I mean, you don't even know this person, It's like you never met this person. But when Kobe died, I remember where I was. I was at this restaurant, and my wife said, she pulled up on her phone, like, hey, Kobe died. I'm like, what? that's not right. That's got to be fake news or whatever. And then sure enough, like all these reports and all these credible news and what had happened, with the helicopter accident, like, okay, that's obviously an accident situation. And I just couldn't believe it, but it actually hit me. I mean, it really, like, I was feeling it. I was like, man, it got a little dusty in the restaurant. I don't know what was going on, but I just couldn't believe that Kobe was, I don't know. I still can't believe it, but that's the first celebrity death that I actually was like really sad about.
Dude, so yeah, Kobe's death is one of those moments in time where you remember where you were at, what you were doing. And I remember this was when I was still a pastor, and I was at Fuzzy Taco. And we're eating lunch after church one day. And
Were you at Presidio over there by Alliance? Yes. I was across the parking lot at Piatta's Italian street food.
Wow, look how close, dude.
Yeah.
Small world.
Yeah.
I had this friend, he was part of our church, who loved Kobe. Oh. I mean, every morning he wore Kobe's with his outfit, whatever. We played basketball together, so it was all Kobe. He always wore purple and yellow and Kobe shirts and all that. And so he was at that restaurant. And so I didn't know, but he got up to go to the bathroom, and I was done eating and I was going to go wash my hands. I walk into the bathroom, this grown man is sobbing over the sink, man. And I'll never forget that, because his reaction kind of like, it surprised me, first of all, but it was a real emotion in real time, because he just found out.
Yeah.
Kind of like how you did. But
I surprised myself the way I was on my feels on that.
Yeah, you'll always remember where you were at.
Yeah. Man. Okay, well, RIP to Kobe. Nothing but love. Great, amazing game. But I say, if you got MJ, then you can't. You kind of duplicating if you got both. So. Yeah. Okay, so you got one more keep and then two more you got to kill. So now you're down to Wilt, Oscar Robertson, and Magic.
You know what? Because of the sake of my starting five, I'm just gonna go ahead and end it with picking. And so the other two, man. So because of this, my team can be so versatile. All right, I can have three guys bring it up the court. They can dribble, they can start offense, they can create, and two of them are great at passing. I'm gonna go with the legend Magic Johnson.
Wow, that's a solid choice. Well, and he can play pretty much all five positions, they say, Yep. So why not?
Especially in this day and age of the NBA, they do the small five, small ball kind of style playing.
Yeah.
And so perfect.
Yeah, no, I definitely remember seeing him and Larry the Legend go in. And actually, why I don't have Larry Bird on this, that's really on my fault right there. I should have had him on here. But yeah, Will and Oscar Robertson, I don't really know. Obviously, they played a little bit before, we were able to watch it. And I never saw Oscar Robertson play. But all I know is, like, because Luka, he is breaking all these records, or like he's on this short list of only 2 people have ever done this, only 3 people have ever done this. And it seems like this Oscar Robertson guy is always on the list. It's always like, it's either Jordan, LeBron, or him. It's always like only 3 people have ever done this: Luka, Michael Jordan, and Oscar Robertson. So I don't know anything about his game really, but I just know he is on every list. So the guy must have just been, amazing.
Yeah. Most definitely, yeah. It's definitely Oscar Robertson. You hear him, often, especially when, like you said, like when Luka just breaks, a record or matches something. But dude, like, I need to go back and check him out to see what he was about. I don't even know if they got film back then. I have no idea how much I don't.
I know. I'll have to hit the YouTubes and see what's been posted. But okay, now you got a good team here. If you're just joining us, this is the Founders Club Live. We're talking to a founder of a brand, Day Architects. What?
Day Design Studio.
Day Design Studio. Sorry to mess it up there. David Gomez, and we know each other from playing basketball. And I just made him go keep 5 and cut 5 with 10 all-time NBA legends. It wasn't easy, but I think you got a good squad right here.
Yeah, I feel good about it. I'll go up against anybody with this one for sure.
Yeah, yeah, and I think Magic Johnson also gives you a little size.
Huh?
I mean, between him, Dirk, and Kareem, that's some pretty good size right there. And then you
They just
got
all they just all got to learn how to play together, especially AI and MJ. They got to be willing to pass the ball sometimes. That's it.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Good luck. Yeah, good luck with him. Yeah, good luck with that. But both guys could pass. But Magic Johnson was a wizard with the passing. So, all right, okay. Well, that's keep it and cut five with your special host today, David Gomez. All right, we're gonna wrap this up with a little serious business talk on the way out here. Here we go. All right. So we talked a little bit of business on the in the first part of our show here. We were talking about kind of what David's journey has been to this point. But I had a couple of follow up questions from our discussion, and so talk a little bit about the last two jobs. So like where you're at today versus the pastor thing, being in the church biz. Talk a little bit about some of the things you've learned from that experience that carry over, and specifically, one of the second questions, two-part question, is managing teams and managing other people. I know it's such a huge part of the church world, and being in the band at my church for many years and volunteering in different ways, being a deacon and all that kind of different things. Talk a little bit about managing folks and how that has given you some skills going forward.
Yeah, I'll hit the first one. What did I learn? Um, and ministry that can carry over to business. I think one thing that I always come back to is that I don't really have the control that I think I have.
Mm,
Especially when in ministry, man, it's so funny. Like, you know, eh, you think you run the show and you think you can run things because you have the title, whatever, and you do, but to a certain degree, you don't. Um, I've always said this, that ministry, you can even apply this to business too, but ministry and business, what they'll do is they'll make you so insecure, right, at times, that you have to be able to trust something outside of yourself in
yeah.
order to make
Wow.
it. You just do. And so, with ministry, there's ebbs and flows, there's changes, seasons change. I mean, just think about the changes throughout the year. Like, what's big for ministry is getting people in the door, ministering to people, right? Being able to create a church, an environment, a community. But what happens when those people are busy on the weekends? What happens when people are doing family functions on the weekend? You have no control over that. And so that's what I learned that I can carry now um, in the businesses. I think the fake facade is, yeah, I have control, but I really don't. I have control of a few things, but
Hmm.
in the long scheme of things, like, there I don't have control, and that's, to some, that's going to be frightening. But for people who are grounded and who are learning and understanding who they are as a person, but also as a business owner, it's very intriguing because it brings an excitement to the journey. And I'm a big believer that whatever is happening on the inside of you reflects what's happening on the outside of you. And so if I want something to change in me, or around me, I should say, if I want something to change around me, something needs to change in me, either my perspective, either my habits, either my language, my talk, either the way I treat people, whatever it is. Your inner world kind of reflects what's going on the outside. And so that's what I do have control of. What I
Hmm.
don't have is all the things that are coming at me, telling me, you should worry about this, you should have stress over that. And so that's probably the biggest thing that I've learned, just carrying it into business. I would say that on the teamwork aspect and building teams, man, ministry is a great school for that. The reason why is because a lot of churches, they operate with 90% volunteers.
Yes. Oh yeah.
there's pro- there's probably 10% of the church, maybe even less, really, very less, much less, are staff. And so your church runs on volunteers. And so um,
And,
I think
and
that,
most people don't know that. And the reason I know that most people don't know that is because I've never worked at my church, but everyone that comes to my church, they always think I work there. Oh yeah.
yeah,
How long have you been? Oh, they just assume that I work there, but I'm like, no, I don't. I'm just a volunteer. But yeah, so
yeah,
people, they see people on stage or they hear people talk on a mic and go, oh, that must be, it must be a staff member. But
yeah.
yeah, it's kind of wild.
Yeah, absolutely. Same thing was, happened to me the first 3 years that I was back in church, and they'd ask me, are you on staff? No, I'm just a volunteer. And so you don't
Yeah,
realize it. There's
yeah,
a
because if you're
lot of,
not, yeah,
and the volunteers make it, go. And so you really have to nail down your managing teams and recruiting and all that. So I mean, there's a lot of things that you can get into with that, right? But I think that one thing that can connect ministry and business and just kind of relate to both and overlap, I would say, is you got to create an environments, I should say. You got to be able to create environments. And many times, because we let the demands, because we let the worries, because we let the stress kind of invade who we are, especially our inner world, that seeps out, man. And because it seeps out, that creates an environment of stress, worry, hurry. And there's this book that I picked up about 3 years ago, and it really changed my paradigm. It started me on a kind of like a new trajectory in my thinking. But it was called, and many of the audience probably know it. If you don't, go check it out. The author is Mark Comer, and the title of the book is The Ruthless Elimination of Hurry.
okay,
And us as a world, we are so in a hurry, going from one thing to the next, from this project to the next, from this school line to the next school line, whatever it is. But if we can learn to stop, slow down, be still, contemplate, be aware, like that does us so much good. And because we're able to do this, we're able to fix and heal our internal world and adjust and align our internal world, that now wherever we go, we can create a great environment for people. And what I've found that in recruiting people is you don't really have to sell it. Like, just who you are, and the energy that you bring to your day, and your dream for the business or the ministry, that's going to invite people. Never once did I have to recruit anybody to jump on the team. Basically, what we did is there's spots available, and if you want to join, come. If you don't worry about it. Enjoy just being a part. And so I really think that environments invite people. Number one, people can sense when people walk into certain rooms, whether it be in their office, whether it be even in their own home at times. People can walk in a room and sense the energy. That's
yes,
environment. They can tell when, okay, this is an environment that I have to walk on eggshells. I shouldn't say too much in this environment. And then there are other environments where it's like, wow, like I can share my thoughts or my ideas, and I don't have to feel like I'm belittled because of them. Like I can just throw them out, and every
yeah,
idea is a good idea. But so there are certain environments, and if I would tell you that something that would connect both would be that, from ministry to business to entrepreneurship, building teams, would be creating great environments where people can just be themselves. And you'll learn that when people feel like they can be themselves, that's when they excel the most.
okay. No, that's really good. I couldn't agree more because there's nothing worse than going into a place where you feel like if I say something or try to, like I'm gonna feel dumb, like
Yeah,
you'll just shut down. Nothing will shut someone down faster than not being, not feeling safe to
Yeah.
say something, because you don't want to be, especially if you're new somewhere, you want to be able to jump right in. And if you don't have an environment, if you don't build a corporate, like in this case, a work environment that it fosters like people to have ideas and that kind of thing, then people just shut down and they just get real quiet, and then you don't get the best out of them. And I think that's really good, just that idea of fostering a safe and encouraging environment. I think
Yeah.
like a safe place, I guess that's kind of a snowflakey term into some people's perception, but the idea is actually, valid, which is, just giving people the latitude to kind of be part of the team.
Yeah. And it's partnerships are all about relationship. That's what it is. It's all about relationship. It's trust. So people have to know that they can trust you with their ideas. If you have some some employees or looking to hire employees, like they have to be able to trust the company, the vision of the company, the direction of the company. They got to trust you with their failures as well, and that's a whole other thing, right? And so man, I think that's one of the biggest things in business is being able to create a great environment for people to jump into. And again, I don't think you necessarily have to recruit. I don't think you necessarily have to fight for them to be there. They'll want to be there. And something that I just remember that I was told in ministry, that whenever you're recruiting somebody, right? Recruiting, by the way, comes off um, very odd when it comes to ministry, right? And even in business sometimes. But if you can talk somebody into something, then they can be talked out of it. But if they decide for themselves, right, this is what I want to do, then man, their decision weighs more than somebody talking them into it. And
Wow.
I've always led from that idea that I don't have to talk anybody into anything. I am here being myself, creating an environment. I have a good product and I have a great vision, and we got a direction. Do you want to jump on? Let's go. All that other stuff, training you and all that stuff will work itself out. We'll get to that. But the main thing is the environment. And so I even approach this kind of philosophy with the clients that I'm now taking. Is I'm not going to fight for your attention. I'm not going to even fight to get the job. I'm going to present myself and who I am. I'm going to create an environment with every meeting that we have face to face. You're going to feel comfortable. You're going to feel confident. You're going to feel like everything is possible, because it is. And even if it's hard to begin with, we'll make it possible, but we'll get through it and we'll make it happen. And so, man, who wouldn't want to sign with me, right?
Right. Yeah. I'm getting hyped up. I don't have a house to build, but I wish I did. Man, no.
Create an environment.
Yeah, no, man, I love that. I love that, man. I can't believe our hour is already going. I did want to have okay. Final question for you. What do you, this? If you don't have a 5 point outline for this, it's fine. But what are the goals for Day? What do you see in the next couple years up ahead of you?
I love that question. And I wrote it in a book. I have a sketchbook, and basically, you're supposed to draw in a sketchbook, but for me, I'm sketching out my life.
Okay.
And so I view it every day. And number one is to create more contracts. I want to get more contracts for my business. That's the first and foremost. The second thing I would say is I want to get on the building side of it as well. And so not only do I do the design, I want to be able to go and be like, okay, I will build your house. I will subcontract this thing out. That's
Hmm.
another. The third level to this would be, now I'm buying land, now I'm purchasing land, and now I'm either flipping land, I'm selling land, I'm putting properties on land, or I'm partnering with somebody else to develop this land. But the reason why I'm doing this is to be able to pass something along to my family that has our name. And
Hmm.
I think that me being able to leave something like that, either whether or not they work in it, the fact that I can say, hey, there's certain things that you will have to worry about. Sons, I have two sons, but there's some other things you won't have to worry about. The second reason why I'm doing this is because I believe in generosity, and I want to be able to give more than I bring in. I want to be able to fund certain causes in our world. I think my wife and I have a very humanitarian side. Both of us have been in ministry. Both of us have love, and we have a heart for people of all walks. You know, just because they have a big house doesn't mean they don't have needs. They're just different type of needs.
Yep.
And so heart goes to all kinds of people. But there are causes out there that I feel, my wife and I feel, that we could partner with in the future and be able to bring some awareness to it, or even we can, you know, fund it and launch it. And maybe we have a nonprofit of our own. We just don't know. We'll have to walk that. But that's the ultimate goal, man. Design, build, and then purchase land. Two reasons: my family, and the second one would be to be generous to the world and to give back.
Wow. Okay. That's amazing. I told you didn't have to have a 5-point outline. No, I got the outline for this, boy. Hold on. I got this one.
Ex-preacher.
Yeah. Oh no, that's right. Like, end it with a poem, and then we'll pray. We'll go home. I think it's perfect. No, man. What's your wife's first name?
Ashlyn.
Ashlyn. Okay. We're gonna stitch on a pillow. You know, most people ask why, and Ashlyn asks why not. You know, we're gonna give her full credit for that. So tell her we said, or we appreciate we appreciate her giving us permission to dream big.
2 minutes. I'm gonna tell you her story real quick.
Tell me.
Is that okay?
Yeah.
Or why not began? It began before this, but I remember where I saw it in real time. We were in a movie theater. Okay, it was Cinemark, whatever. And this is when she's first starting, you know, out as an actress. And she's been an actress since 2018, has an agent, has been in commercials, movies ever since then. But she was barely starting out. And you know how Cinemark or AMC, they have the rewards?
Yeah, I'm on it. I'm on that plan.
Yeah, so you get it, right? You watch it and they're going through things. She sat back and literally said it out loud. Why can't that be me? Why not? I can do that. Kid you not, 3 months later, she got a job booked at Cinemark. It played all over America. She was the rewards person, right? For I don't know how long she kept it up, but she was that person. I'm telling you, that question, why not?
Wow. Okay. Well, that's amazing. Wow. I'm glad you dropped that on us. Well, tell her that we said, hey, full respect, getting us all charged up, getting us all, you know, motivated to do something great. And man, I really appreciate your time. I know you're just getting started with branding and websites and socials and all that kind of stuff, but people can email you, I think, if they want some inquiries. How do the folks contact you?
Yeah, the easiest way to get a hold of me right now is Dae. That's DAEE Design. Or I'm sorry, let me start that over. David G at DaeDesign.com. And
all right, cool.
They contact me that way. And any questions, anything, just want to ask me questions, we can answer some questions for sure.
All right, very good. You know, I will tell you this: when I started my first thing, I used the names of the family. So I use my kids. I have Sophia and Greg, and I started messing with like syllables of their name, mashing them around. So Sophia and Greg. So I used the first part of Sophia and the last part of Greg, and I got Soeg. So I was Soeg creative for like a couple of years, and then became, you know, other things. But yeah, you know, you gotta you know, the family thing, right? So
whatever inspiration.
Exactly. I love it. All right, man. Well, thanks again so much for your time. And I guess I'll probably see you tomorrow on the basketball court.
Yes, sir.
All right, brother. Thanks a lot. All right. And there he goes. Ladies and gentlemen, what a great conversation. And I'm just so excited for him, where he's going. And it is exciting, too, to talk to someone that has a plan. They know what they want and what they're trying to do. And they've learned from these life experiences. They've, you know, just used the timing situation to their advantage. And so I don't know if you're out there and you are waiting for a sign, but you know, the timing is now. Now is the time to get going, and there's no better time to start. The best time to start was yesterday. The next best time to start is today. So, you know, let's jump out there and let's listen to, you know, to Miss Gomez saying, hey, why not? You know, everyone asked why. Well, she said, you know, why not? And she was right. You know what I'm saying? So come on, let's just get comfortable being uncomfortable a little bit, and let's find, like what David said about finding your path. Not everybody's rah rah rah. Some people are more chill, and you don't have to be a rah rah person to be successful in business. So if you appreciate David, show him some love, and if you have a design project, you've got his contact info. So we thank everyone for being part of this one. I missed a bunch of comments about the whole basketball thing. They were coming in, and I wasn't paying attention to the comment thing, but we got a lot of comments about the basketball team. It seems like the chat seems like he picked a pretty good squad. So we'll catch that. We are here live every Tuesday at noon. So we will see you next Tuesday. And thank you so much. And for everybody involved in this one, I'm Jeff Jarrett. We'll see you next week on the Founders Club.